This video is based on an article of mine earlier last year. The link is in the description. So I grew up in a major metropolis in Asia and later spent my teenage years in a rural Midwestern suburb in the US. These places seem vastly different, but a key similarity only became clear after I moved to a booming city and later a college town. I've never seen so much urban graffiti before. For example, when I was in Austin for college, I saw graffiti tags covering dumpsters, traffic signs, electric poles, restaurant walls, and closed store windows. While I understand that many see graffiti as a cultural expression and it is widespread in Western urban areas, a 2014 poll found that while 51% of Americans opposed graffiti, 44% supported it, with younger people more likely to have a positive view. And yeah, conservatives don't like graffiti. Here, I take a firm stance against graffiti. Unlike public murals that are often permitted and convey meaningful messages, graffiti tagging is largely vandalism. It diminishes public spaces and enforcement against it is weak. So, alongside issues like homelessness, late-night noise, and liberal politics, and I will definitely cover these topics in future videos, rampant graffiti made my first impression of Austin quite bad. Plus all those terrible news, I find Western cities less safe and livable than places I previously called home. I say most urban graffiti falls under one of the following categories. Territorial tagging. Graffiti quote-unquote artists repeatedly mark their customized signatures across properties spanning a large area. Political slogans, where the graffitiist expresses political opinions on the walls and sidewalks. In cities, the overwhelming majority are liberal slogans such as pro-union, pro-Palestine, and anti-Trump messages, etc. Surely, the far right also uses graffiti to spread their message like Nazi swastika, and only cases like that may be more subject to police investigations, which is unfortunate. Restroom graffiti, the most obnoxious form, often vulgar and immature, can be found everywhere, but especially in men's restrooms on campus. As there's no way to witness the culprit, this can be a hotbed of vulgar graffiti content such as genitalia, weird humor, and sheer disrespect. I was frustrated that my university administration failed to address this issue with at least regular cleanups. You may ask, why am I so against graffiti given its commonality and harmless nature? Well, I do acknowledge that many graffiti can indeed have artistic value. I also understand the stance that making markings in public space can be seen as personal freedom. There, however, are a few important distinctions to be made. A bit of history. Graffiti culture originated in the mid-20th century America as an act of rebellion against norms and authority, particularly among teenagers and gangs. This is hardly something to admire. Nowadays, the media and academia often blur the line between illegal tagging and permitted street art, sometimes even celebrating vandalism. One news article covered a common Austin graffiti tag without addressing its legality while expressing understandings for the quote-unquote graffiti community. And when a group tried to combat graffiti in 2023, the university's student media framed it as a loss of culture. Graffiti is expensive to remove and, if left unchecked, attracts more tagging. Permanent carvings on hard surfaces are impossible to erase, for example. And excessive graffiti can create an atmosphere of lawlessness, reducing transit ridership and retail activity. Research supports this. Let me ask you, should people have the right to graffiti anything, anywhere, even if it's offensive or obscene? What if someone argues that they're all protected free speech? If not, where do we draw the line? If you ask me, vandalism is vandalism, whether it's a random tag or a hate symbol. Guess what? Illegal graffiti is rare in places like Singapore, the UAE, and China, where authorities enforce strict anti-vandalism laws and people value clean streets over a street art culture. Even in the US, former New York City Mayor Giuliani successfully fought graffiti through the broken windows theory, which argues that anything equivalent to shattered glass, trash pile, or a vandalized wall eventually attracts more unlawful activity and motivates law-abiding citizens to avoid a neighborhood, leading to deteriorating crimes. His anti-graffiti efforts included ramping up arrests, especially by undercovers at night, and reaching out to communities. This actually made New York much safer. So what are the solutions to the graffiti problem in the urban Western world? At this point in the video, it should be evident the city authorities should invest more in law enforcement and cleanups. But of course, there can have other innovative ways. Start a social media campaign to get volunteers who deeply care about their community to pick up trash and clean graffiti every weekend. Provide cleaning tools directly to property owners in high crime and graffiti areas. If they start spontaneously maintaining their properties well, this can effectively deter vandalism, benefiting their businesses in the long run. For hotbeds of existing graffiti, such as dumpster alleys and highway underpasses, they can be designated with explicit graffiti zone signs attracting artists, quote-unquote, to do art there instead. Legal graffiti walls are already a common practice in Europe, although not so in the US. Cities should ensure the quote-unquote artists are informed of the locations, and this can even potentially promote tourism. However, if local residents like me who prefer zero tolerance, consider fencing up areas and installing cameras. Okay, this might be a controversial yet original thought, just an original thought from someone with moderate economics knowledge. A heavy citywide sales tax on spray paint and permanent markers could be imposed to discourage buyers, and then the tax revenue would fund graffiti cleanups. I don't know exactly how it would affect the market, but it is worth trying. After all, graffiti will remain a divisive issue, and I respect differing opinions despite having already taken such a strong stance. But ultimately, we all want cleaner and safer cities, right? Thank you for watching till the end. Please like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. See you next time.